Okay, today we're going to look into career training and choices. There's a lot of different ways to get your training to get that job that you want, okay? And the vocab that we're going to be using today, loans. Loans are borrowed money that have to be paid back, okay? So loans are just like it's coming out of your pocket. So if you take a loan, that's just like you paid for it. Now, grants and scholarships, money that doesn't have to be paid back. That's free money. Always look at the strings attached to the free money, but grants and scholarships are free money. Now, a quick note for the day. It is time in society, it is time in the history of the US to look at the value that you get for your money. The price of training has now gone up so much that you must look for the value. You must look what you're getting for the money. Not only can you put yourself into financial instability, which you can sometimes never get out of because of the money you borrow, but we have to remember too that every dollar that's saved is worth, so let's conservatively say $9,000 or more at retirement, okay? So if we spend $30,000, coming out with $30,000 of debt, that means you spent it. That $30,000 could have been worth $270,000 at retirement. So it is a good idea to start thinking that every dollar you save is $9 or more at retirement. And considering the vast majority of us will be looking and needing money nowadays in retirement, this is one of those places that you can totally 100% fund your retirement account by looking for value for colleges. Now, it wasn't always like this. The price of training used to be so cheap that you could basically just pay whatever they wanted and it wasn't a big financial hit. But now we have to look for the value. And why would training, and more specifically college, because that's the one that really costs a lot sometimes, why would that be different than any other thing that you're buying in your life? Every other thing you buy, you look for the value you get. Smart people will be trying to save 10 or 20% on every single purchase they make, whether it's from paper towels to a car to a vacuum cleaner, okay? So people will, I'm not saying agonize, the smart people will value shop for everything under $1,000, but yet there's a disconnect where we don't tell people to value shop for something that costs upwards of $30,000 or $40,000 a year. Why would you not value shop for possibly one of the top 3 most expensive things you ever will buy in your life? And then I see people who are like, nope, not gonna value shop. Well, why is it right to value shop and get a bargain for every other single thing you purchase in your life? Why would it not be right? Why are all of a sudden it's wrong to do it for your training? Now, there's many reasons. I don't agree with a lot of reasons. I get that. We might go into that at some other time. But for right now, I'm saying the time is over to just pay whatever the training asks for. It's time to value shop. And always remember, though, sometimes more expensive colleges can become cheaper because they want you, okay? Sometimes expensive colleges charge a lot of money for people willing to pay it, so then they can give free money to people that they want. This lesson is about training and choices. The future lessons, we'll talk about cost-saving tips. Okay, it is not the case that the automatic default is to go to college. When people are wondering what to do next, sometimes the automatic is to go to college. Well, that is not the truth anymore, that is going to be your best bet. If you think about things, then there are many different options that can be equally as good as long as you're taking ownership in your life. We're going to go over some of those options. And remember, neither one is automatically better. I could take any of these options up here, and someone who's in control of their finances, dedicated and motivated, can at least or outpace or at least match any college graduate in finances and stability. You could enter the workforce at an entry position, okay? And that would be like a checkout or a counter person or a line cook or a server. Now, this usually doesn't pay enough to be financially stable going through multiple years of your career. So if you do enter the workforce at an entry position and you want to stay in that field, you're probably looking to going up to a manager or a higher position. And A appropriately motivated and competent person should be able to get to a manager position within 1 or 2 years. So if that's your goal and you're at a business and you're not getting to a manager after a year or 2 years, you might not be good enough. They might not like you. There might not be opportunity at that business, and maybe you should move on if that's your goal. You could enter the workforce to be trained, where you're entering into a career that you can be financially stable for the rest of your life. You are going to be trained at it, maybe like an electrical apprentice through the union where they pay you money and train, getting the job at that post office where they are going to train you, police and fire where they train you for that career, and you could stay in that career for your entire financial career. And now, some things like some police in some places need 2 years of college. I get that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about community college. Now, community colleges are all around the country, and in New York State, there's some of the best community colleges in the actual country, and thus vicariously through in the world. Community colleges do 3 things. Number 1, community colleges have programs that prep people for a trade, such as construction, or such as HVAC or electric. Okay, so there's just courses that are trade prep. Something on trade prep, a little aside. I have been told, and you must look into this, I've been told that if you are going to go into, say, like the electrical field or the welding field, it is much, much, much more preferable to go right into the union training, not just a private company, but union training to get trained by the unions rather than go to community college first. I've just been told that by experts, but you can look into that yourself. Community colleges have 2-year degrees where when you graduate from them, you are ready to go in, such as I do believe they do into RN nursing programs. I don't know if they go in cosmetology programs. They're called associate's degrees. There's 2 years degrees. You're qualified to go and get a job right out of those 2 years, or you could go on and take your 2-year degree and move it into further training. And finally, what community college does is they offer the first 2 years of a 4-year degree. So say you want to go to quote unquote college for history. Well, community college offers the first 2 years of a history degree. They offer the first 2 years of a science degree. They offer the first 2 years of a math degree. They offer the first 2 years of all your 4-year college degrees. And they do it cheaper, and they do it with totally fine instructions. A note on community college. It is not necessarily better teachers or a better experience than a 4-year college. You don't know the quality of the teachers. But then again, you don't know the quality of the teachers at your 4-year colleges either. Okay? And let me add to that another factor. The first 2 years of any college, those introductory courses are basic. Okay? They are the basic courses. If you take a United States history course, it is virtually the same thing you have already taken in high school. If you take a world history course, it's virtually the same thing. If you take an English course, it is basically the same thing. These are not specialized first-year courses. They're the introductory 101s and 201s. Okay, so wherever you take those first 2 years of courses, they're basically the same basic courses. Okay, then we get into the 4-year colleges. And in New York, it's the State University of New York's. They offer 4-year degrees, okay? Degrees that take roughly 4 years to complete, although you can complete it earlier, and that's one of the cost-saving tips. And we have private colleges that are not State of New York's, and they too offer the same 4-year degrees. Now, these State of New York's and private colleges, not only do they offer the 4-year degrees, which sometimes aren't 4 years, but they offer the higher education of a master's degree, which is usually 2 years after, and they offer the PhDs, which is usually another 2 years after that. So for the higher degrees, you'd have to be at a SUNY or a private college. And remember, you can, of course, transfer from different colleges. That's another cost-saving tip. Now, there are some things out there that are private technical colleges. Private colleges that aren't really like universities, or they're not offering social studies or English or science. They are specifically for one thing, but they often charge the same as 4-year degree colleges. And this would be an example of 1.5 or 2 year cosmetology school, but they're going to be charging the prices of 4-year colleges. There might be some technical colleges out there for computer programming. There's some technical colleges for culinary school. My advice is be careful. Be careful. Private technical colleges, in my mind, fall into two categories. One, they charge way too much and they don't offer enough. The horror stories are some culinary colleges that charge four-year prices, and when people graduate, it doesn't get them a better job, and they start as line cook anyway. But then there's the certain cosmetology schools where they're the best of the best in hair, nails, and makeup, and you graduate from that, and you are going to get a job because you graduated from that specific school. So be careful and do your research on whether the degree is actually worth it before you get it. All right, you could go directly into the military. Go directly into basic training, go directly into it, and you're going to basically start getting paid immediately. And I am no expert, but I do believe you start out, you have promotion opportunities for promotion, and it is an entirely viable career path. Now, I would say, though, if you were thinking about that, please look into a school-military combo. There is so much money out there for school-military combo, whether it's National Guard, whether it's maybe an ROTC program, whether it's you sign up for a military service, but they give you money to go to school. There's just so much free money to go to school for certain things, and then the military pays for like a huge chunk of it. And I do believe all you have to do is serve in the military for a certain amount of time and get paid for serving in the military. And you basically get free school. And I mean, we are talking any branch of state or federal military, Coast Guard, and it doesn't have to be the straight military. It could be the National Guard. It's just there's scholarships, there's programs out there. There is. If you even mildly think you could do anything for any amount of time with anything related to a military, look into school military combos. There's just an abnormal amount of free money out there. Okay, and I want to finish up with three different things. Number one, state and federal work. When you go right into something like the post office or the state employments at the state or city employments, I do believe you usually take a civil service exam. They offer those once a year or every couple years, and you take the exam, and if you score well on it, then you go on to the hiring process. And so people were wondering, why do I train in high school to take good exams? Well, there you go. If you become really good at high school, I can only imagine that you will ace these civil service exams and be on the line for hiring interviews. So there's another reason why high school was probably good for you if you took advantage of what high school offered. Anytime you can get union training for free, this is just an amazing thing to do. Okay, so the example is to become a union electrician or a union plumber. Unbelievably, they train you, they pay you while you're training, and it takes a little time, but you're getting paid while you do it, and then you're a full union member, and you can always, at some point, put the union on pause and start your own business. It is an unbelievably powerful way to go. And finally, now this isn't going to give you college credit, I don't believe. You can look into it, but you can now get college courses online. So if you are at a job, if you are doing a military, if you're doing union training, you can always, if you find something you want to be better at, this one website, Coursera, and there's other websites too, they literally get college courses online, taught, online learning by college professors for a cheap amount. Now, I don't think you get the actual college credit. If you want to do online college courses, you're going to pay a lot of money, although it's usually cheaper, for those online college credits because you're credited through the school. But you do get a certificate of completion if you pay a little bit of money, and they literally are courses designed by college professors for the internet. So this, I mean, if you want to know or learn anything, it is so cheap. You just have to have the dedication, and you will get the learning of college for really cheap. So this part is for those who are going on in a college education setting. And if you don't know about the costs of college, you probably shouldn't be going on to a college setting. You should literally only go to college when you understand the costs. If you don't, I'm going to say it, you're a fool. If you're just going to college and you have no clue about the costs, you are a financial fool. There is no purchase that we would spend thousands and thousands of dollars every single year for 1, 2, 3, or 4 years, and you don't know. No one ever does that. You have to know the averages. You have to know kind of where things are. Now, if you want to live on a college campus, in general, you will be paying $13,000 a year, which is $13,000 more than if you live at home and do it. And it's probably about double if you figure out a way to live on your own and do it. It is a premium. It is a premium for room and food. It is more than you will pay for any other place. But is it out of control? Meh, that's for you to decide. Community colleges don't usually offer living on campus, although community colleges in New York have becoming so full service that some do offer living conditions, and they're usually cheaper than four-year colleges. Now, the costs of colleges are spread into room and board, living and food, okay, tuition for the courses, and fees. And fees actually can add up to 20% of, 10% or so of the yearly costs. So just for taking the courses, let's say you're living at home and you want to be enrolled full-time taking the courses, community colleges are usually averaging around $6,000 per year. State schools, state universities in New York, usually are around $9,000 or $10,000 by now per year just to take the courses. If you want to go to a state school out of New York State, you're probably going to pay out-of-state tuition, which at least doubles or triples the cost as if you were in-state. So one of the rules, unless you have a really, really good reason and are getting a lot of money for it, you usually don't go to state schools out of state. And now we have private four-year colleges. They're not better than state schools. They're just not run by the government. And in general, the cheapest budget school you can get is somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000 per year. So it's 1.5 to 2 times the cost of a state school. But then there's mid-range cost, private schools, that are $34,000 per year. And then there's the high-end colleges that will just tuition, $47,000 per year. At the time of this notes, RPI was $47,000. Financially, if you are paying full price for one of the high ends, that means no scholarships and no scholarships, it is undoable. If you're paying $50,000 and you're going to graduate with $200,000 in debt, I don't know what to tell you, okay? But remember, sticker price is not always what you pay, because maybe the colleges want you. And if the colleges want you, they might give you money. So a private school is not necessarily more expensive than a SUNY school, and a SUNY school is not necessarily more expensive than the community college. It depends whether the college gives you free money. And they only give you free money when they kind of want you. Loans are not free money. Loans do not change the cost. If a college comes back and says, we'll give you this many in loans and you're going to get this many in loans from the government, that you're paying that, it doesn't change the cost. The only thing that changes the cost is grants and scholarships, which is free money. So the lesson of choosing community college, SUNY or private, is have a plan. Okay, apply to all your favorite private schools, apply to your favorite SUNY schools, and see what they come back with and see what the total cost is. Because if they want you, it might become cheaper than automatically a SUNY school or automatically community college. Or it might be so close that the value is worth it. All right, let's finish up with 3 ideas that quote unquote, help you pay for college. Now, first off, I want to make something clear. Once again, loans do not help you pay for college. It's just wrong. Loans are you paying for it. If you get a loan of $20,000, that means you have paid $20,000 plus you're going to have to pay that back with interest. So if you get a loan, it actually costs you money to get a loan. All right. And that is just you paying. That's not help. That's not help. Very few times in your life is someone lending you money help. No, it's you paying. Scholarships and grants are help. So they lump them all into financial aid, which I don't think is a good idea, because when you see a loan, you should realize that's money that you could have used for something else, like retirement or living. So you can get student loans, and right now mostly it's student loans from the government, but you can also get personal loans from bank and other places. Usually your parents have to co-sign on personal loans, and I forget if they co-sign on your student loans. Now, a thing is, student loans from the government never go away, okay? If you stop paying them, it ruins your credit score. They can take money from your paycheck. They can go to collections agencies, which will hound you until you pay it, and the IRS could get involved. You can't go bankrupt out of student loans. Now, some people say, why do people get student loans? Well, they're very easy to get from the government, and you have a lot of repayment options. You could spread the loans out for a very long time. The problem is, the longer you spread a loan out, the more you're repaying. So the government is very willing to let you take years and years and years and years and years to repay them, but that's killing you financially. Personal loans, you could go bankrupt out of them, but usually they're co-signed by your parents, I think. But there's less flexibility in payment. Now you could get scholarships. There's big scholarships and small scholarships, okay? And usually, look, it's worth your time to apply for all scholarships, even if it's only $200. Do you know how long you would have to work at a job to get $200? Well, every dollar you don't get in a scholarship, you're gonna pay back some other time, okay? Scholarships are free money. So it's totally worth your time, even if the scholarship is only $100 to apply. Many people just don't apply. Where do you find out these scholarships? I don't know. Go online. Go to the guidance counselors in your schools. Just you have to search. And then there's big scholarships, which are totally worth it. And there's grants for need based on your income and your household's income. Just remember, state schools and community colleges are not always cheaper because there's scholarships and grants. Now, usually in a normal year, there is a New York State Excelsior Scholarship, okay? New York State has basically made tuition at community colleges and state schools free. Tuition. If the household family makes less than $125,000 a year. That's for a lot of people. That's for a lot of people. It covers tuition. It doesn't cover room and board. It doesn't cover books. And it doesn't cover the, $600 to $1,000 in fees that the colleges do. So it's not free college. And any politician, i.e. the person who made this, the governor of New York, who says it's free college is absolutely wrong. You will still, that's just a spin. It's just to sound better than it is. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong. It is amazing. And if your household makes less than $125,000, I think it's adjusted gross income, you can check it out. And if you don't check it out, you really should check it out. It is awesome. And it's worth $6,500 or more per year at a SUNY school. That's a lot of money. That's how much you're supposed to put away for your retirement per year. So this scholarship would save you enough to put away for your retirement for 4 years. Unbelievable. In a community college, it can be worth $4,300 because of the difference of fees. It's worth a lot of money, but it is not free college. So that is a lie. It covers tuition only. Now, the one catch is you need to live in New York for the numbers of years you receive it. So if you received it for 1 year of your school, you then have to live in New York 1 year after college. Not pay any money, just live. Live and work. I don't even think you have to work, you just have to live. And there's exceptions for the military or higher education, I think you can leave. But that is still, chances are the vast majority of people who graduate in New York will get there, they will live in New York for a couple years after. So, and if you do leave, it just turns into a loan you would have probably taken anyway. So this is an amazing thing that you should immediately look into. Although if it's a tough year, if there's something like there was a pandemic and during the year of the coronavirus, they suspended the program or they prioritized it for certain people, but still you should apply. And so if there's a really bad year, it might not come through. If there's a shock to the system or a recession or a depression, who knows? But in normal years, it's there. And finally, to finish up, there's always free programs. If your family earns right around the poverty threshold, there are free programs in the government. There are free training programs everywhere. If your family or household is around the poverty threshold, you just have to search them out and they will train you. I know for a fact, Hudson Valley Community Colleges gives you free security guard, welding, culinary, cooking, buildings and trades, cosmetology. They're all free if you're around the poverty threshold for your household. Folks, that is career training and choices. There is not one automatic way to go. There is only how much do you want to invest, both your time, your money, your thoughts, to find the path that works best for you. All right. Thanks for watching.